Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. Today, His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj is going to enlighten us on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, verse 24. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. These all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Canto 2.
I think I've got some problem with
You said Canto 10, Canto 2.
Canto 2. Yeah, that's why I said, sorry. Did I?
You said Canto 10.
Oh, sorry.
Hope you're okay.
I'm good.
Let's see the verse again.
Yes, yes, Guru Maharaj. I'm just sharing it. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, and I want to see the translation before you share it. Mm. I did this verse already.
This is what Srimati Mataji said. Okay, I can go on the next one.
This verse is 24, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
This is 23 version.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
This one.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srinjami tapasa vedam grasami tapasa puna vibrami tapasa vishvam viryam me duskaram tavaha. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is penance only. In executing penance, one must be determined to return home back to Godhead and must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Even for material prosperity and name and fame, one has to undergo severe types of penances. Otherwise, no one can become an important figure in this material world. Why then should there not be severe types of penitence for the perfection of devotional service? An easygoing life and attainment of perfection is transcendental realization. Cannot go together. The Lord is more clever than any living entity. Therefore, he wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. The order is received from the Lord either directly or through the bona fide spiritual master. And to execute that order, however, painstakingly, is a severe type of penance. One who follows the principles rigidly is surely to attain success in attaining the Lord's mercy. I have to make one statement. My voice is somewhat deficient. It's somewhat lower than I can normally speak. So if you have any trouble hearing me, let me know. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutalaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivasesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Satarine Vanshakaupa Terubhischa Kripa Sindhupe Bacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Before I start, I just need about 30-second break and I'll be right back.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
So we might say penance and austerity is very similar. Austerity has a broader meaning in the sense that things are imposed that are not wanted and one is forced to accept. That's austerity. Penance is something that is taken on voluntarily. So what is the penance or that we have to accept in order to successfully execute the goal of life, devotional service to the Supreme Lord. We ask everyone to chant a minimum of 16 rounds every day on beads without fail, to follow principles of restriction, no illicit sex. That means no sex outside of marriage and only in marriage for procreation of children. No intoxication, no, not even tea and coffee that contain caffeine is considered to be categorized as intoxication. Caffeine is a somewhat of a addicting type of herb that can cause one to become dependent on it. So we restrict that. No meat eating, no fish eating, no eggs. That's also a restriction. And no gambling, which means no trying to present and try to get something in a challenging way for nothing. Gambling means, of course, there are casinos that propagate gambling. We avoid that 100%. But, playing the lottery, that's gambling. Sometimes you go to Christian churches and they have bingo. They do that to raise money for the church. That's a form of gambling. And so there's different types of ways that gambling is there. Prabhupada used a very broader definition for gambling. He said no mental speculation. That's very broad. He also said no frivolous sports. He didn't define what frivolous meant, but he also said what sports are what we say authorized. So this is penance. We accept these things because by restricting these, we can easily overcome the effects of the material energy. Within these four regulative principles, all sinful life exists. In other words, if you can follow these four regulative principles very strictly, you can be free from all sinful activities and their reactions. So we accept that. To accept a spiritual master who is a representative of the Lord to guide the conditioned souls on the path of devotional service is a type of penance. That means we have to submit to the guidance, instructions of the spiritual master, even if it goes against what we want, or therefore we accept that as a form of penance. So there are many, and Prabhupada really comes to the point. He says, one has to undergo some difficulty in order, and to get out of the material world is not so easy. Because of our long-term association with matter, we are conditioned by that same matter, and we've developed certain ideas, habits, routines. We even say in a more subtle way, certain ways of thinking, ways of doing, even the more slighter forms of material contamination, such as idiosyncrasies, very subtle forms of characteristics that may appear and disappear at certain times in our life. But they are with us because of our connection with the material energy. So this long-term connection is not so easy to extricate oneself from. Therefore, there's a process of extrication, and that's penance. And one has to accept some difficulties, just like fasting on certain recommended days for fasting. Ekadasi is a type of fasting. And outside of Ekadasi, on certain appearance days of the Lord, and certain pure devotees also like that, accepting food that is offered to the Lord and not eating any food that is not offered to the Lord within the category of acceptability, that is. So these are all forms of penances which are necessary to make progress in devotional service. So in the beginning, we might find these awkward, difficult, or maybe even hard to execute. But if we accept it and go through with it, there comes a time that the practice becomes more natural. And what was once a penance or even an austerity becomes easy and natural. And what is the opposite of those things, one develops an aversion towards. So one has to undergo these things. And if you want to make progress in devotional service, it's not like we're just going on vacation and we can choose any vacation spot we want to go. And it doesn't matter as long as we're on vacation. No. Devotional service is broad, but at the same time very specific under the guidance of the spiritual master. When Srila Prabhupada started the movement, he told the devotees, you must chant 64 rounds a day. That was in the early days of New York in 26 Second Avenue. The devotees somewhat felt that they could not do that, both because it was difficult to sit down and chant that many rounds, and at the same time they also felt we have other services to do. How is it possible, time-wise? So then Prabhupada reduced it to 32, and still there was some resistance from the devotees. Prabhupada then said 16. His Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, gave a similar instruction where he said those who are out preaching, they can chant 16 rounds a day because they're out all day preaching. And those who are staying in the temple and doing services in the temple, they have to chant 64 rounds a day. That was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Because temple life can also make you a little bit lazy if you're not fully engaged in activities in the temple. And you can also get a little bit routine. So, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave many reasons, but Prabhupada, he was even more lenient. He said 16 rounds for everyone, like that. But then when Prabhupada started the movement, and after some time, he said, I'm giving you 16 rounds a day, and you can't even do that. Just see how fallen you are. So we can't even do 16 rounds. And time-wise, it takes, you might say, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, like that. We can complete 16 rounds. But still, we find that too difficult to do. This is Kali Yuga, that people are not inclined to spiritual life and find it easier to live in the material world in the material way, and they think spiritual life and all of its restrictions is just a burden. So better not to undertake that, or to try to cut and paste and accept what you like and don't, and leave the rest behind. But once one takes to the third step in bhakti, which is initiation, one must carefully and strictly follow the instructions of the spiritual master. If one fails to do that, that is the third offense to the holy name. Therefore, one's chanting of Hare Krishna will not develop beyond a certain level. which is not very, what we say, high level at all. So one has to accept some difficulties, some restrictions. I remember when I first joined the movement, we were so eager to get more and more restrictions. We found it a challenge. We found it an adventure. We liked it. Many of us did. Few didn't like it, and then they couldn't stay with it, and eventually they left. But I remember it was kind of like really an adventure, to put it that way, when we were given more and more things that were difficult to do. And we found that this was really making the whole thing more exciting. And when you think like that, actually, in one sense, it is, because it brings out your good qualities. Austerity, penance, helps to bring out those qualities of the soul that are not recognizable when we are not engaged in devotional service. And these good qualities actually give happiness to the living entity because they are intrinsic in the soul's existence. So one should not find difficulties as some burden or an obstacle. One should accept difficulties as opportunities for making more and more spiritual advancement. And also helping the intelligence to become sharper and more able to understand the philosophy, and also in many cases, most cases, to preach the philosophy also. So devotional service is penance. It's vairagya. And there's one verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken, it says, renunciation, the devotees of Lord Chaitanya see renunciation as their life and soul. Renunciation is the life of the soul of the followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They like it. They enjoy it. Because they know this renunciation is really just giving up the things that are burdensome in the world. These things are not something that are giving the soul or even the body, some success. This renunciation is good. Of course, sometimes devotees really get into the idea of austerity and penances and take on much more than is required for their spiritual advancement. Like there was one devotee. He was traveling with Prabhupada and many of Prabhupada's disciples. And then at one place he stopped because he wanted to chant more rounds. So he adopted 32 rounds. Then he went to 64 rounds. Then he decided to go to Mayapur and live there and chant 64 rounds. So the devotees were reporting to Prabhupada what was his activities. And then he decided, even another austerity, he decided to live in a tree. He found a tree that was livable, and he was living in the tree. He made a little house in the tree, and he was chanting 64 rounds. And Prabhupada knew about what he was doing, and Prabhupada would sometimes inquire from the devotees, what is he doing? And they would give the report. So at one point, Prabhupada had asked, well, what is he doing now? And Prabhupada, they said, he's gone. He left. So sometimes you see that a person will just, what we say, to use a euphemism, charge the gates of heaven and think that they can all of a sudden become Krishna conscious just by accepting more austerities. we can take voluntary austerities if it helps in our devotional practice. But if we accept those things which are not necessary or against devotional service, and therefore we should either know by scriptural evidence and by Guru's advice, then by accepting these things, we can also develop either one or two things. We can become hard-hearted, because austerities can make you hard-hearted. Just like some people, Srila Prabhupada made Ekadasi easy. But he also explained what is the Ekadasi in essence. Ekadasi means to fast from all food and water for 24 hours. He said that is the actual Ekadasi. We fast from water once a year. We call that Nirjala Ekadasi. But actual Ekadasis are no food, no water, and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra throughout the day. That is the actual Ekadasi. But Prabhupada knew Westerners couldn't follow that. It would be too difficult for them. And they would eventually give it up anyway. So he made it easier. He gave us the basics. There's 5 ways you can follow Ekadasi. One is no food, no water. The other one is no water, water with no food. The other one is no cooked food. The other one, less than that, is only fruit and milk and fruit, like that. So these are different levels. And then the easiest, and the one that Prabhupada gave, he said no grains and no beans. No grains and no beans. And so even devotees find it hard to do that, especially in certain areas of the world where their daily meal includes certain grains that they depend on. They like, and they eat it regularly. And without it, they feel like the meal is not complete. But for them, Ekadasi becomes difficult. But they do it. I know one place in the world that's like that, at least 2 places in the world that's like that. So, yeah, but the recommended austerities are there. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the austerities of the mind, the austerities of speech, the austerities of the body. And then he also gives other statements in Bhagavad Gita on in relationship to eating and sleeping. He says not too much, not too little, medium, become moderate in both of these categories. Prabhupada said don't sleep more than 6 hours a night. And if you feel like you need more, okay, 6.5. And then at one time he also said 7 for those who need it. He said, but he meant it. He said, only if you need it, not just because you want to sleep more. Like that. So, so there are recommended things. And certain foodstuffs he also tells us to avoid, even though they're in the category of acceptability, such as tamarind. He said too much tamarind, he said, can agitate the sex desire. He said don't eat too many sweets. And that will also cause you to find it difficult to execute devotional service. He said, Lord Chaitanya said, eat simply, not gorgeously or lavishly. And the cooks should also know that when cooking for the devotees. So there are restrictions. But when you start following restrictions and you start making progress through the process of chanting and hearing and serving, you actually don't even see them as restrictions anymore. They simply are there, and you have no attraction for them. And if somehow you're faced with it, you're not even interested in it. You simply pass it up. So the one thing that becomes a difficulty at the beginning becomes easy and pleasing at the end. And that says that in the Bhagavad Gita. What is nectar in the beginning becomes poison in the end, and what is poison in the beginning becomes nectar in the end. So what does that mean? Material life may be nectar. Oh, you get a new car, you get a new relationship, you get some new job. So there's some nectar. But as time goes on, it changes and becomes a burden. And sometimes it's the cause of your suffering, most of the time. But devotional service may be a little difficult in the beginning, but you stick with it. And after a while, it becomes nectar, becomes sweet, becomes wanted. We enjoy what was difficult in the beginning now becomes routine and easy and enjoyable. So that's devotional service. Because as one is making progress, the qualities of the soul are manifesting in the devotee's character, and in those qualities, the devotee feels happy and benefited. Okay, and so a little bit about penitence. Krishna speaking this, he said, I created this cosmos by penance. I maintain it by penance. I withdraw it by penance. Therefore, the potency is penance only. So you'll see. Even Krishna accepts austerity, you might say. Of course, for him, nothing is difficult. But what he's saying is that he's setting up these things for the benefit of the conditioned souls so they can make advancement towards the goal of life. Prema Pumartha Mahan, love of God. Okay, we can stop here and open it up.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. It was really nice class and enlightening us on the penances and austerity, which is really, really helpful. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, please raise your hands or type it in the chat and I will read on your behalf. And if you can, please put on your videos and that way Guru Maharaj feels that we are like a group and he can see us and become more personal. Okay, Radha Vinodini Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you. Thank you very much. This is always so important to remind myself about the importance of penance. But in this verse, I was really surprised. Maintenance and creation connected with penance is somehow understandable for me, but destruction was a bit surprising because at least my experience was always like destroying something is so easy. Maybe it's not really a relevant question. I don't know. It just really surprised me. Can you explain it a little bit?
Well, destroying something means there's a transformation of something that once existed and no longer will exist. That's something material, obviously. And each of these categories of activities are placed under a personality. For creation, the Lord infuses Brahma with the energy for creation. For maintenance, Vishnu, who is actually the Supreme Lord himself, he does the maintenance. And for destruction, it's Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, when he does destruction, he has to undergo great penance in order before he performs this sacrifice. And it seems like he's enjoying, he may be, because he enjoys his service to the Supreme Lord, obviously. But what does he do? It's called Tandava. Tandava means a particular dance. He has to dance for a long time. And while he's dancing, he's also beating on his drum. And he's going through a lot of what we say, chanting mantras and going through a whole series of rituals in order to bring about the destruction of the creation. So you might say that's an austerity. I mean, that's one of Shiva's services, but it's not, you might say, is it his main service? His main service is Shiva is the father of all living entities, and he's like the second super soul in the hearts. Shiva has the facility or the ability to know the hearts of living, the conditioned souls in the material world. And therefore, along with the super soul, Shiva is also guiding the conditioned souls towards Krishna in different ways, along with his internal energy, Parvati, Uma, uh, Sati. That's the different names of his, you know, internal energy. We usually say Parvati and Krishna, Shiva and Parvati. So these are his service as he does this all the time. He also has to fight against the demons. When the demons become extraordinarily powerful, then Shiva manifests in order to push back the effects of very powerful demons. You'll see there when um, he when Ravana wanted to show his power in front of Shiva, but he looked like a fool in front of Shiva. Although he had so many big benedictions, Shiva made him look like a fool. And Shiva has a great austerity. What is that? When demons become very austere and perform austerities, he gives benedictions to demons. He gave a benediction to Ravana. He gave a benedictions to, what is that other demon? Rikasura. And other demons also to, what's that other demon's name? Banasura. So that's his service, to award people the benefits of their austerities, whether they're devotees or demons. So you're saying destruction is easy, huh? Or
Sometimes it seems so. At least easier than the other two. But but yeah, probably it's a different kind of distraction
yeah,
than what we do.
it's not like dropping a bomb. It's much different than that. Dismantling the material energy.
Hmm. And may I ask, what is the difference between the destruction caused by Lord Shiva and also there is the avatar Kalki? Because I never understood the difference. Both of them were explained to bring destruction.
Well, Kalki, he's not bringing destruction. He's just winding up Kali Yuga,
Oh,
and he's introducing the next yuga, which is Satya Yuga.
okay,
Shiva's,
then.
yeah,
Mm.
he's the Supreme Lord. He's one of the incarnations of the Lord for destroying the Kali Yuga. When Kali Yuga becomes so degraded that there's no reason to carry on that level of, and then it's a time thing. Usually happens within a certain clock time, 432,000 years for the Kali Yuga. And then he comes and he rides on a horse. It's a white horse and he carries a sword. And he just goes and he just cuts off all the heads of all the demons, which are practically the entire world population at that time. Whatever devotees are there, they're hiding underground. And the span of life And Kali Yuga at that time has dropped all the way down to 25 years as the maximum span of life. So it's very a degraded age, extremely degraded. If you want to find out more, just read about the symptoms of the age of Kali in the 12th canto. And you're seeing some of them now already. But it's nothing like it will be towards the end of Kali Yuga.
Yeah, it's so surprising how fast it degrades. So even in the past few decades, it really worsened. So I cannot even imagine that in thousands of years what can happen. So it's really frightening.
Well, the prophecy is, and Lord Chaitanya spoke it, for 10,000 years his movement will reign. So that 10,000 years began in the year 1486 when Lord Chaitanya appeared. And now we're 540 years, almost 540 years later. So we hardly even entered into the Kali Yuga yet. That's 10,000 years. So as time continues, there'll be an increase in demons and an increase in devotees. And then there'll be conflagrations or things that will clear the world of the demons, and the devotees will be supreme. And this will go on until the entire world becomes what we say God conscious. And that's prophesied by the Lord himself. And when the Lord says something, it's not a matter of whether it'll happen, it's a matter of when it'll happen. That's all. So that's that 10,000 years. But the 10,000 years, you can read the book. I think it's by what's it? Sri Nandana. He just recently won a reward for his books. He received one of the highest awards in India for the books that he wrote. And he's a devotee. He lives in Detroit. He has a little house right around the Detroit Temple in America. And he wrote one book on the age of Kali, or the prophecies in the age of Kali. I think it's called Prophecy in the Age of Kali. And it's explained that for 5,000 years, starting in 1486, and gradually going up, there'll be, after 5,000 years, it'll reach, the whole world will be God conscious. But then once it reaches 5,000 years, it'll start to deteriorate. Then it'll start going down, and then after 10,000 years, it'll be gone. So 10,000 years is 5,000 up, 5,000 down. So that's there. So, I mean, we live at interesting times now. The demons are becoming more and more powerful now, and the devotees are also becoming more and more powerful. It's an interesting time. And so there'll be a certain level of cleaning house. So it may take the form of calamities in order to clean out the demons. So nobody, and it may be unpleasant from the material point of view, but from the spiritual point of view, it'll be, the devotees will be happy. But Prabhupada said, because of the demons, you're going to have to undergo some difficulty. Your lives may also find themselves challenged in different ways because of the ascent of the demons. But Prabhupada said, don't worry. Don't worry. Krishna will protect you, provided you take shelter of Krishna fully. So there's an interesting time in history now. Interesting in the sense that there's no peace. You want peace? Prabhupada says, go back to Godhead. You're not going to get it here. Even devotees have to work. if you work hard to spread this movement, then you can take part in bringing Lord Chaitanya's golden age into, and the more devotees we have, and the more dedicated the devotees become, the faster this 10,000 years will 5,000 years will manifest. For instance, Prabhupada said, and we have to understand Prabhupada is not just a great soul. He was commissioned by the Lord to come down to the material world from the spiritual world. He's a Nitya Siddha to do this work. And so he also knows past, present, and future. He has that ability to see the future. And he told us when we were there, he said we can spread Krishna consciousness around the world in 18 days. He told us. He said, but you're not ready. So we got to get ready. We have to become more, what we say, Krishna conscious. And we need to also use whatever time, energy, resources we have to spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said we want every devotee in this movement to be an instrument for spreading Lord Chaitanya's mercy. No sitting back and watching the show. No box office seats available. Either you're in it or you're out it. So the acharyas, this is our line. Our line is what is called paropaka. Paropaka means to do good to others. So spreading Krishna consciousness is the highest good that one can undertake. So we say, become Krishna conscious and spread Krishna consciousness. And how to spread Krishna consciousness? There's a variety of ways that one can undertake that service. One has to see what Krishna has given them, use that, and maybe connect with what is going on and become a part of the action. Instead of becoming a box sitting in your little theater eating popcorn, watching the Krishna conscious movie. Get involved.
Yes,
And
thank you so much for the reminder.
I'll see you next week. I'm coming to what was it?
New Brajatam. Yes, I heard.
You heard her. Yeah. I'll be there Friday night. So
Mhm, mhm.
are you
Yeah,
gonna hide?
probably
You'll be
sorry.
there? Are you gonna hide from me or are you gonna be there?
No, no. Originally, the plan was that I will go only for Jamashtami, but this way I will stay a little bit more. But I cannot arrive on Friday. I will arrive on Saturday morning, but I will be there till Monday. So I promise not to hide.
Good. I'll be looking for you if you do.
No need, no need. Thank you.
I'll be there Friday night just to settle in. So I'll be there so I can be there for Saturday and then, of course, Sunday also. We might depart on Sunday night or we might decide to stay till Monday morning. So
I see.
that's the plan.
Oh, because devotees said that you will stay till Monday or Tuesday.
No, they throw the word Tuesday in there. I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We might because Monday night might go late,
Mm.
and then if it goes late, then it will be difficult to travel that late.
Mhm.
Although from the New Rajadam to my place is about an hour and a half, 2 hours the most, I think, by car. Hmm.
Okay. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Thank you.
Good, good. And I'm gonna need your assistance.
I try whatever I can do.
Well, whatever you do, you usually do good. So let's see.
Not always, but you are merciful to to see like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That was a really nice question. Shiv Kumar Prabhu, go ahead if you have a question, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj. My Lord Prams, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, thank you for the class session today, Maharaj. So one of the points that you discussed caught the attention very much, Maharaj, that in your early days, you were looking at the austerity as a challenge that you were looking forward, that you wanted more and more challenges and accept it and take on rather than trying to move away from it or have aversion towards it. So on that front, Maharaj, I just had this question. I just thought came up in my mind, Maharaj, when you were making that statement. In material experience, for example, at work, a challenge would actually demand more and more senses involvement to take on the challenge, to look up to the challenge in a sporty way or in a positive way. But whereas when it comes to austerity or penance, I see that, maybe you can correct me, Maharaj, it seems more of sense restriction. So I'm just curious to know, how can we take the sense restriction as a challenge to look forward to rather than having aversion towards it?
Well, if we don't restrict the senses, then the senses will drive you towards material life more and more. So restriction of the senses is the one of the basic principles of success in executing of devotional service. To allow the senses to do anything and everything means to glide down to hell, pretty much. Or even within Krishna consciousness, there are devotees who go for the activities that bring what we say some kind of sensual stimulation or pleasure. But a devotee will understand that restriction actually helps to awaken one's consciousness towards Krishna. Because when you restrict in one area, you develop in another area. So withdrawing the senses from sense objects and engaging the senses in the activities of devotional service brings great happiness. But if you don't restrict the senses from sense gratification, it becomes hard to guide the senses or direct them towards spiritual life. And if you try to play both games at the same time, you'll find yourself going back and forth and not really tasting the happiness of devotional service, because you're still looking for satisfaction in the material sense. So there are guidelines for restrictions. So follow those guidelines and see how best you can do it. And the guidelines may vary from person to person. The variance is not much, but there is some variance. But ultimately, the principles are the same. Don't do this, do this. But then again, there's a whole series of rules and regulations that are given to us in a broader sense, which cover all aspects of devotional service. And they're categorized as two things. One, anukulena, what is favorable for my devotional service, and two, pratikul, what is unfavorable. Now, there may also be some cases where something looks unfavorable but is favorable, and vice versa. For instance, when one devotee was preaching in Russia, he was writing to Prabhupada, there's nothing to eat here, only meat. I can't find any vegetarian, no vegetables, There was only a little bit of milk and meat. That was practically all that was there during the communist era in Russia. And Prabhupada said, yeah, well, if you have to, he said, if you have to eat meat, then eat meat, but preach. So Prabhupada gave more importance to the preaching than to the restriction. But if he says that, if you can preach and still follow the principles, that's ideal. But he said for preachers, there's no rules and regulations. But then he said, don't take advantage of that. Because one who's preaching may have to stretch the rules and regulations in order to preach to certain types of people under certain conditions, but not at the expense of one's spiritual advancement. I mean, not spiritual advance, but one of spiritual practice like that. So that takes a little bit of intelligence to understand that. It's not so easily understandable simply by, following the principles. Like Prabhupada was criticized for doing certain things that were not normally done by a preacher, but he did it. And he said, I became successful because of it. So, therefore, the advice comes from Guru. The advice comes from Shastra. And when you investigate Shastra, sometimes Shastra is not always understandable according to time, place, and circumstance. Therefore, Guru is there. If Guru is not personally present, then a representative of your spiritual master has to be sought out, someone who is on the same level, and you can get advice from that person also. So if you're sincere, and that's the whole point, you'll accept what's favorable and you'll reject what's unfavorable. Don't try to make the unfavorable favorable, and don't try to make the favorable unfavorable.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the details. Thank you.
Yeah. And as Prabhupada said, it takes intelligence to execute devotional service. It's just not some robotic performance. You have to use your intelligence, how to do things. And sincerity means you'll be driving in the right direction. If you're insincere, then you'll take the easy way out or the material way out. But if you're sincere, I want to do the right thing, then Krishna will help you, and then you'll get the answer you need. Sincerity is the key.
Thank you so much, Kumar Prabhu, for that question. Hare Krishna. Sridevi Mataji.
Thank you, Sukha. Dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. As you were speaking about the demons increasing and the fact that Kali Yuga is also progressing, of course, devotees are also increasing. Can we conclude that the demons also have infiltrated our organization?
You want to change the whole topic around now, okay?
I'm asking because the way things are going, I'm just wondering, am I living in some, am I refusing to face reality? Am I in denial or what? Because the way
I'm going to answer you the way Prabhupada has made the statement. He said, not everyone who comes to devotional service is actually coming for devotional service. And he said, now, if I say this, then you're going to be looking around and see who fits this description. And that'll just bother your mind and make your devotional service extremely difficult. But Prabhupada said, and he wrote about it, there are people called Kali Chela. So you know what Kali Chela means, right? Tilak, Mala, everything but disciple of Kali. So that happens in every powerful religious organization. Happened in Christianity, practically destroyed Christianity. It's happening now, but don't bother your mind to try to find out who's that Kali Chel because it's not worth it. Just go on with your devotional service. These Kali Chelas, they usually don't last long in devotional service. And the ones that do last a little bit longer, they can't do so much. And basically, they come to spiritual life for material gain, for added sense gratification. As one devotee said, this knowledge is very powerful, and in the hands of the wrong people, it's dangerous. So don't bother your mind with it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, by your mercy, I'm on to a wonderful thing. It is Lord Balaram's mercy on me through you. I'm going for the morning program. I came to know they have a robust morning program here in Banasham College Foundation. And so I'm just going to go next door.
How many people come?
Well, of course, for the program, there were a lot of people yesterday. Today morning, there were 5 of us. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Me included, 5 people were there for darshan. I went for darshanarti and Guru Puja.
Good.
So 5 people were there. And it was very sweet and very nice.
Good. Then continue.
Yes. I just want to be with simple, straightforward, honest devotees. That's enough for me.
Become one yourself, too.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, by your mercy. I must stop being a Kali Chela over here first. Thank you for the reminder.
Anyway, we can't see your ponytail anyway, so we can't tell.
No, Guru Maharaj, she's not Kali Chela. Sri Devi Mataji is lovely.
Ukava has, she's on your side.
She helps everybody. I know, and none of our God family will say that Sri Devi Mataji hasn't helped them. So
No,
she's
she's not a Kali Chela.
lovely.
That's for sure.
Definitely, definitely. Guru Maharaj, you did mention that austerity makes us hard-hearted, but sometimes, when we are practicing the devotional service and when we see others, they are not doing it, this has been discussed before as well, I know that. But then we do feel very angry as well and feel like leaving those people away. So how to control our mind that time? It's very
When
difficult.
you controlled your mind, I'm trying to figure out what is your question.
So, if you see someone like in the family or friends and they're not following the Krishna consciousness or they are not ready to do any devotional service, for us, how to calm down ourselves and not get angry towards those people.
Well, what is your anger what is it gonna do? Nothing. Might even push them away farther.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah.
So don't do it. If you're concerned in helping someone, then find ways that people will become. Just like sometimes we see young people, they grow up in our movement, but they're not so serious. But then when they get involved with kirtan, they become very serious because they see their friends getting into kirtan. They like to learn mridanga. They like to learn harmonium. They start coming more, and then they start actually start practicing fully. So using the principle of kirtan with their peers as a means for, getting them connected to the process. We get people connected by giving them education. We connect them that way. We connect them. We get people connected when we offer them prasadam. People come to our temples. We give them prasadam. They come back only for prasadam many times.
Yeah, that's the case. They just come for the prasadam. They literally ask you, when is the time prasadam will be served?
That's fine. Prasadam is Krishna's mercy, and it will work. It'll work in due course of time.
Okay.
It'll work to bring him to a next stage of commitment.
But some of them don't, Guru Maharaj. I've seen them years and years. They just come for prasadam and then just bugger off. That's it.
Well, they come to meet their friends.
It's social thing. They make it this temples and everything. It's so bad.
Yeah, but you'll see some of them do become serious.
Yeah, some of them do. Yes, you're right.
Your Janmashtami is coming up next week. You'll get 75,000 people coming for one day. Maybe even more. They expect even more than 75,000 this year.
Yeah.
But they'll have a nice experience. They'll get prasadam. They'll get a chance to worship the Lord on his appearance day. And they may simply go home and go back to what they normally do. But something is happening.
Okay.
Imperceptibly.
So we can't say, but it is happening. So leave it to the Krishna.
That's why we invite everyone to come.
Yeah.
But we look for those who are more interested to take time and preach to those. The rest, we just let them come, and the environment itself gives them some nourishment.
So it's not worth wasting time with them, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
They can always be friendly, but at the same time, look for the ones that are, you can see they're more serious, they're seeking. Go to the ones that hang around the book tables. You can see those are the more serious ones when they're looking at the books.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have to part because I have a very tight schedule.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
And it's already 10 minutes past.
Past, yes. There is no other questions. Any last minute devotees? Have you got last question? Then there's a comment in the chat only about the same thing. Mohanasini Radhika Mataji says that some people come lifelong only for prasadam. In next life, they become serious in spiritual life. Everyone has its own time. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay.
Okay, no questions. So thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hari Bol,
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Bol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Guru
Hope
Maharaj.
your throat gets better soon, Guru Maharaj. Are you
Yeah.
taking?
Me too. I want to sing. Balaram and Tanya, are you here yet today?
Unfortunately not. We are at home now.
Oh. Okay, it was fun seeing you yesterday anyway.
Thank you.
Remember my instruction to you.
Yes, remember, yes.
That's important.
Yes, thank you very much again.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Nande Hari Hari Bol.
So much.
Thank you very much, Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Sukava Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
very much,
Maharaj.
Mataji.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.